Hi, my name is Catherine Masson. I was born in 1954. I'm 59 and a half years old. I was born in Wichita, Kansas on McConnell Air Force Base. My father was in the Air Force 25 years, so my entire life I moved all over the United States. I lived in Hawaii. I also lived in Libya. I currently do home security.
I was born in the 70s, 1970, here in Johnson City, Tennessee. Um, my family pretty much all comes from here in Ohio. Uh, my grandfather is Irish, and my grandmother is Indian on both sides, same thing. And I've had multiple jobs ranging from general labor to managers to sales.
Yes, my grandparents. We were told not to associate with the blacks. That they were not the type of people that were good to hang around. They were shifty and worthless.
I grew up in a child with a father and two uncles who discussed it all the time. They were all three members of the KKK. Um, they all three were very prejudiced, and I was taught not to like black people, and they were dirty and untrustworthy.
We were told to steer clear of people like that. That those were not good influences. I was raised particularly religious, and we were always taught that the gays were very, very bad. According to the Bible, it says that that's an abomination to the Lord. And so that's something that it was the unwritten rule that that was not ever to be allowed or to be around. The public eye or in front of people, you were to be polite. But when things came down to it, that was something that we were actually forbidden, to do or to be around.
No, it's pretty straightforward. You pretty much stuck to your kind, and they supposed to stick to theirs.
That would have been when I was in kindergarten, and there was a little black boy in our class, and of course everybody shunned him. He was the only black person in an all-white class, which had to be really hard for him. I can remember being on the merry-go-round with him, and just wondering whether I should speak with him or play with him because I didn't want to be singled out for being the one who would do that.
Did you play with him?
Yes, I did play with him on the playground, and he was a nice little boy.
The first time I actually got to talk to anybody other than like within the family was in elementary school. Uh, a guy named Don. I grew up with him all through school. He was a great guy, black guy. I had a hard time adjusting to talking to him because I wasn't supposed to talk to black people. But we wound up being great friends, despite the race issue.
You were concerned because of your classmates or because of your family?
Family.
One thing that stands out particular is, as a young girl, I remember Martin Luther King's assassination. And I remember thinking how sad that was that he was murdered because of the color of his skin when he was speaking out against the truth that it doesn't matter what color you are, it's how you act and how you live your life that really matters.
The Rodney King event happened, and there was a group of people that was beating up white people, looting stores, um, beating up truck drivers. That caused me to see some of the prejudice and feel that as well. It's kind of like one of the first times, actually.
Currently, I work with a black young man, and he's the nicest young man, and he is a Christian, and he is a very good role model. We were at a house a few weeks ago, and a little white boy, probably about 2 years of age, apparently had never been around black people. They lived out in the country, and he said to the young man I'm working with, he looked at him and he said, "How did you get so dirty?"
Because he's black?
Because he was black. And so this was from the mouth of a babe.
That would have to be when my mom married someone black. That was a very conflicting time for me. 15 years old, still brought up with prejudiced people, and I had a lot of prejudice towards that because I was brought up race is supposed to be with your same race and not intermix, you know. And to be honest, after I got to put my guard down and really get to know the guy, he's a great guy.
That we're to base how a person lives his life on the basis of how they act and what they do, not on the basis of the color of their skin or their hair or if they're rich or poor.
I really haven't talked to my children about being prejudiced. The issue hasn't really arose. If they come and ask, I try not to be, but you know, everybody's going to be a little prejudiced. Prejudice to me is something totally different than it might be to other people because it's not a skin color. It's a way somebody presents herself, carries herself, an attitude.
I really feel that all three of those apply. I can see that the prejudice between blacks and whites has improved. I mean, I see more friendships between people of color of races. Although when we look at like the influx of illegal aliens coming in, people are very much prejudiced against people coming into the country who don't speak the language and who they feel don't have a right to be here, so they're treated differently. I personally think that there has been a lot of growth in all these areas, but there's much more room for much more growth to be done. And I believe it all starts at home in the family.
I don't think they've improved, no. Grown worse, no. I think it's been about the same my whole life. I don't see it changing. There's always going to be prejudiced people out there, either whether it be white racists or gangbangers. You know, there's always just going to be prejudice out there.
Seeing relationships between people of color.
Do you think anything's changed?
I do not. No.
That people in their homes really reserve their private feelings. They think and talk differently at home than they do out in public. They want to be politically correct out in public, but at home they still have prejudices.
You can go back from the 80s and see the same thugs, same white race supremacists as you're going to see today. Maybe it might be a little worse today than it was when I was growing up. Because you didn't see it all on the news like you do today. But that could be the media too. So maybe they didn't report it as much back then as they do today.
I would say my family first all, and I would say religion second. Being in a community does have an effect. I'll just give a brief example. I had a associate who I worked with who was black. It was a young girl, and this was in the 70s, and I asked if their carnival came to town. We were at the same fair if she could go on a ride with me. And she declined because she said, they still burn crosses around here, and she goes, I'm afraid to do that.
To be honest with you, it's a combination. It would be family, peers, and the media. The media feeds the racism all the time. growing up in a prejudiced home, that had a lot of influence when I was younger. And the people I hung out with at the time, a lot of them were prejudiced too. As you grow older, you learn that not all people are bad. There's no sense in being prejudiced towards a person because of the color of their skin.
To speak out when I see somebody who is doing something that really is wrong, treating somebody shamefully just because of the color of their skin or because perhaps that they're poor and in need.
I don't believe it's my job to combat prejudice. Um, I try to avoid it all possible. You know, look back to that one question about our children. That would be the one thing I'd say to avoid it altogether. Would be the best thing to do. Yeah, that would be the only thing. Other than that, because I have been around for a while and I've just seen it over and over constantly, and it just doesn't seem to go away. Even though it would be a great thing if everybody could get along, but we're all people. Not everybody's gonna get along.
I think in the home, in the churches, and in the schools and community, that it should be taught that we're all the same under our skin. We're all human beings, and therefore we all deserve respect.
Well, we do live in the United States, which is a free country. If that is their opinion and the way they want to do it and live their lives, then that's up to them as long as they don't hurt other people. Well, then there should be laws for that, you know. People go to jail for that. Spend time, do whatever they have to do. Community service, learn about it. Maybe go to classes, take courses. Counseling, exactly. And just do whatever it takes, you know, whatever the government think might be the right step.
I've finally completed my interviews, and honestly, I'm quite surprised at what I've learned. These were two people that I've known a really long time, in one case my entire life, yet I didn't have a clue to their experiences or feelings or thoughts when it came to prejudice. And it kind of surprises me that over, so many years that was never a topic for a conversation. I'm realizing that I've pretty much been unaware to what's going on around me. And I'm mirthful to have been a part of this project. It was eye-opening, to say the very least. And my goal from this moment on is to be more aware of the things that I say and that I do and how I treat people, and to most definitely be a positive role model for my children when it comes to diversity. Unlike Ronnie, I do believe that one person taking a step in the right direction for change can make a difference. If everyone can just take one step, imagine what all those steps can add up to. So I hope that you enjoyed my video, and thank you.